That was Feelings to Myself with Shiloh Dynasty. Welcome to the Rise Weekly Review for November 16th through November 24th, 2020. Our top story involves the murder of a 35-year-old mother in South Chicago. The woman, identified as Guadalupe Lopez, was celebrating her birthday a day early on Friday. Around 8:30 p.m., she was driving in a vehicle around 83rd and Yates when she was struck in the head by a bullet. She was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead.
We would have been celebrating her birthday, so instead of that, we had to mourn her passing. There's no reason for any of this violence, and we were just looking at the news of all these kids and killings and everything, and this is just a sad one to add to the list for everything and everybody.
No one was reported in custody, and anyone with information on the killing is asked to contact Chicago police.
Let somebody know, if you have any information. There needs to be some justice here.
We're gonna be without a mom now, but I know that all of her cousins and her sisters, we're all gonna try to be there for them as much as we can, and we're not gonna let her memory die in any way.
A 30-year-old Hammond man identified as Christian Adams was shot to death in an altercation near the bush on Saturday. Police found an overturned unoccupied vehicle on 79th and Brandon around 10:15 p.m. Police say the man got into an argument with another individual who shot him multiple times. Adams attempted to escape in his vehicle, but struck 3 parked cars before his car overturned. According to police, a witness pulled the man from the vehicle and took him to Jackson Park Hospital, where he soon passed away. Separate shootings in Calumet City resulted in a woman and a man sustaining injuries. On Monday, police responded to reports of gunfire on the 300 block of Green Bay Avenue around 9:40 p.m. There, they found a 36-year-old man who was from Harvey and had been injured. The man was taken to the local area hospital and later released. On Tuesday, a 40-year-old woman was struck by gunfire following a shooting near 163rd and State Line Road around 9:50 p.m. The woman was found by police and transported to an area hospital where she was last reported in stable condition. On Sunday morning, a fire erupted in South Chicago on 89th and Houston. The fire began around 4:40 a.m. and quickly spread to multiple buildings in the area. Firefighters battled the blaze for near an hour, and the fire was finally extinguished around 6:30 a.m. No injuries were reported. A 15-year-old boy has been charged with the murder of Jacob Zavala in Whiting, Indiana. As reported last week, Zavala, who is pictured here, was shot on Saturday the 8th and passed away from a wound to the head. He was found on the 1300 block of Fred Street. Officers retrieved a .40 caliber semi-automatic firearm at the scene of the shooting with the face serial numbers. The boy has been charged with reckless homicide and possession of an altered firearm. He was arrested and is currently being held at Lake County Juvenile Center. The Department of Children and Family Services began an investigation on Monday following the discovery of 2 young girls found alone on a South Shore street. The children, identified as 5-year-old Camaraya and 1-year-old Chantel, were found around 10:30 p.m. on Sunday. They were taken to Comer's Children's Hospital, where they were evaluated, and DCFS was notified. On Tuesday, Northwest Indiana officials reported a grim milestone in their battle against the spread of COVID-19. Officials reported that for a second time in 24 hours, 13 Northwest Indiana residents had died from the virus. 10 of the deaths were reported in Lake County. By Wednesday, officials had issued a red alert status for Lake, Porter, and Newton counties. On Wednesday, news also reported an increase in the number of COVID-19 deaths across Illinois. According to reports, Tuesday saw 140 people die from the virus across Illinois. 44 of the deaths were reported in Chicago. A Lake County judge dealt a blow to immigrants and immigrant rights activists on Tuesday. The judge ruled against Gary, Indiana's welcoming city ordinance, barring the city from enforcing the local ordinance. The ordinance would have provided limited protection for immigrants and visitors to the city, including undocumented immigrants. It would have also placed restrictions on how much local resources could be used to support enforcement of federal immigration laws. The lawsuit challenging the ordinance was brought forth by attorney Jim Bopp. Bopp was involved in the Trump administration's lawsuits against challenger Joe Biden's electoral win in 4 battleground states this month. They argued that Gary's ordinance violated Indiana state law that required local governments to work with federal agents on investigating undocumented immigrants. The state of Indiana, through Attorney General Curtis Hill, participated in the case, and Hill welcomed the ruling. On Tuesday, Reserve Management Group officially filed for the final permit it would need from the city of Chicago to begin operations of its expansion in Chicago's East Side neighborhood. The expansion has caused controversy and widespread protests from area environmentalists and other groups over the additional pollution RMG Management purchased General Iron, which operated in Lincoln Park and had a history of pollution violations. RMG wanted to move the operations to its southeast side site and has already begun construction. The permit application and the city ordinance that requires the permit are available for download at the following site. While the city ordinance provides limited grounds for denial, activists hope that by pressuring the mayor and the local 10th Ward alderwoman, they will find grounds to deny the permit. On Tuesday, the feds issued a warning to the city not to approve the permit until its investigation was complete. Following a civil rights complaint by groups opposed to the RMG expansion, the Department of Housing and Urban Development began conducting an investigation into the move and the city. A letter issued by HUD states that the city's actions to facilitate this transfer are central to the complaint, and that any further actions to this effect could frustrate efforts to settle the matter. They added that a preliminary review of the complaint, quote, finds persuasive complainants' evidence that this transfer would subject complainant organizations and the neighborhoods they represent to serious and irreparable injury. On Tuesday, Crane Chicago Business released a report detailing its findings from an investigation into ComEd cutoffs between September through October. The report states that despite a moratorium on shutdowns, disconnections in Black Chicago communities were still outpacing those in the company's overall service territory. The report stated that among the areas most impacted were South Shore and nearby areas such as Roseland. The report also claims that close to 10% of households in those areas were never notified of shutoffs. In national news, U.S. President Donald Trump continues to contest the results of the election.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win. If you count the illegal votes, they can try to steal the election from us. If you count the votes that came in late, we're looking at them very strongly, but a lot of votes came in late.
The results of the election show Trump losing to Biden. Biden has 306 to Trump's 232 electoral votes. Trump has continued to file lawsuits and demand recounts in areas while claiming widespread voter fraud, despite no widespread fraud being reported by any state or electoral officials. Several of Trump's lawsuits challenging the results have been struck down, with many being dismissed as being baseless and not being able to provide sufficient evidence. In some states, officials have accused the Trump campaign of obstructing recounts. The Trump campaign has sent observers to several states to oversee recount efforts. Some election officials have claimed that many of these observers have been disruptive and in some cases have filed challenges on nearly every vote despite not having any basis. Trump's refusal to concede the election and begin the transition process have raised alarms by many observers. Some worry about the potential damage that can be done to U.S. national security if Trump refuses to concede and is ultimately forced from office. Others warn about how Trump's continuing delay for the transition can harm the ability for the Biden administration to respond to national security issues, including threats, and even continue to respond to the COVID pandemic. Generally, presidential transitions begin once the election results are known to allow the incoming administration to work with the outgoing one to ensure the fundamental U.S. government operations continue without disruption. In other news, groups organized in South Chicago are working with the city on its plans for the Invest Southwest Development Program. The program is designed to spur investment and development in areas on Chicago's south and west side. Groups associated with a local alliance are proposing a mixed-use development on the corner of 88th and Commercial. The space is to include new residential, work units, retail, and a community space. The Clarishan Associates that are a member of the alliance were named as the Invest Southwest area managers in October. Both groups have faced criticisms, however, in the past from local activists for supporting plans such as the failed McCaffrey Lakeside project, which many feared was an attempt to gentrify and displace residents. Some feel that the focus of development on the site should be on providing jobs and opportunities for working-class residents in the predominantly Black and Latino community. They warn of the displacement from gentrification faced by long-term residents along the 606 or in areas such as Pilsen following similar real estate developments. Other groups, however, support gentrification plans and are advocating for river access and amenities to attract real estate investors. And finally, could a River Oaks casino be on the horizon? Local residents reported news of a proposed Calumet City casino on Tuesday. According to reports, the Calumet City mayor said a developer was willing to invest $265 million to build a gaming and entertainment complex by the Macy's in the River Oaks Shopping Center. The proposal is currently sitting with the Illinois Gaming Board that states it will need to at least April in order to make a decision. And that ends our weekly review for November 16th through November 24th, 2020. For breaking news stories, follow us on Twitter at RiseSC Chicago. You can also follow us on our Facebook page at Rise Up. Thank you for joining us for this week in review. Peace.